Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and tonight we're broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spaced Out Radio and at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire, get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to some Bumblefoot and so much more. Tonight we have another awesome show for you. We'll be jumping in to conversation with our guest, Eugene Braxton. We spoke to him about a couple months ago, talked about near-death experience, out-of-body experience, and this is part 2 to that. So we didn't get to finish everything we wanted to do, and we're going to go ahead and make sure we do that on this episode tonight. So just waiting for Eugene to drop in, and we'll get that started. But what I want to do is apologize for the technical difficulty. We had a problem getting everything started. But now we are on air and we are live. So I do appreciate your patience with that. And let me go ahead and jump into the chat and see who we have here tonight. Who gets the gold? It looks like it's Race Fan. Race Fan says, good evening, everyone, and jumps in with the gold. We have Tamothman with the silver. Do appreciate you. And then we have Rosie LaFay saying, hello, first time here, was recommended your channel by Assault Rifleman. Well, definitely want to appreciate you for coming over. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family. We do this here 7 days a week. You're catching the after hours here, which we do Saturday and Sundays from 8 p.m. Pacific time until 11 p.m. Pacific time. And then Monday through Friday, you have the conductor of the Woo Train, Mr. Dave Scott himself, running the show from 9 p.m. Pacific till midnight Pacific, Monday through Friday. So you will find some programming here 7 days a week right here at Spaced Out Radio. We have Jessica Jones, who comes before me on Sunday. So Sunday at 8 p.m. Pacific, or 7 p.m. Pacific, rather, you're able to catch the Cryptid Hunters, Jessica Jones. So we have definitely a lot of powerhouse content here and would love to have you back. So welcome and thank you for coming in. We do have also JSCO77 saying greetings. We have Long Island Bigfoot who said, damn, I didn't even get the bronze medal. You guys are fast. And yeah, Long Island Bigfoot, these guys are fat. Sometimes they're here a day or two early. So that's how, yeah, you got to be on top of the game like that around these parts. We have Nicola Perry Jr. Hello, 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 space travelers. Another Sunday night with Mr. Rob G. Peace. And another Sunday night with Nicola Perry Jr. Thank you for coming on in. We do appreciate you coming in. We have also Jimmy Gonzalez with the pancake emoji and the cool emoji. So, yeah, pancakes, something Dave doesn't like for dinner, but we're going to probably arrange that at the Spaced Out Radio fan party in Reno. So make sure you are there. Let's see, we got Kurt M stepping in saying hi all. Thank you for coming in, Kurt M. Let's see, we have Silent Listen stepping on in here from Jessica's show. We do appreciate you coming on over. Thanks for the referral, Miss Cryptid Huntress. We do appreciate you and everything you do over there. We have Richard Elmore saying hi to Mothman. We have Channel Warhorse saying hunger now. Okay, let's get into it. We have Rayfin. Rayfin, hello to all. We have, let's see, we have Christine saying hi again. Hi again. Hi again. Yes, I guess you see a lot of the same faces over at the Cryptid Huntress for sure. And let's see, we have Shelly Montgomery saying to Mothman, hello. We got Paranormal Pixie Laura. Hi, everyone. Let's see. Yep, and you guys are right. Yeah, Rob was running late this evening. Technical difficulties for sure. I'm like, when the gremlins pop their heads up, man, it can go bad quickly. Let's see. What else do we have in here tonight? Dragonfly. All right, Dragonfly. Thanks for coming on in. Yeah, back for round two. We got Mr. Eugene Braxton will be joining us in a moment here, and yeah, we're going to be getting back into the conversation. Thought it was pretty deep, and we'll be speaking more about this here. Let's see. I think we're almost to the end of the list here. Looks like we have Martha Colazzo. Happy New Year, everyone. Looks like a new name, too. If you are a new name, welcome to the channel, Martha. Definitely appreciate you coming in. Yep, thank you very much. Lightwalkers. Hey, y'all, SOR, woo friends. Hello, Lightwalkers. Thank you for joining us. Straight to Lumbridge. SOR has the best intros. Definitely, I agree. Time Travel 82 says Woo Train. Yes, it is pulled up to the station. Let's see. Who else do we have? Stargazer. Thank you for coming in, Stargazer. Susan Kano. Thank you for coming in. Hi, Mr. Rob G and everyone. Hello, Susan. Philip Baca. Hola. Thank you for coming in tonight, Philip. Appreciate you. Spiritual Odyssey. Hello, all. Thank you for coming on in. And let's see, what else do we have? Jenny Whitebear. Hey, Jenny. Thank you for coming on in. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for your support of SOR and what we do here. Good evening, Rob G and SOR. Appreciate you. And Paul Demond. Is this the place? Thank you for coming in, Paul. This is the place. Every Saturday and Sunday night, Spaced Out Radio After Hours with your host, Mr. Rob G. We do have an Area 51 sighting, the GOAT. He must be talking about himself. Area 51, the GOAT. We got Digger Dog. Evening all. There you are, Shelly, Tim, Chris, Jenny, Laura. Thank you for coming in, Digger Dog. It's been a minute. Let's see. Dry Toast. I am here as always. Here, just don't say much. LOL. Well, I do appreciate you hopping in the chat, letting us know you're here, Dry Toast. Thank you for coming in. And Destiny Rocks, thank you for coming on in. A lot of new names, and I do appreciate that. And I want to welcome everybody who's new. And yeah, okay. Now we're going here. We're getting it going. All right. So, okay. So here we go. After hours on a Sunday, we're going to bring this in real nice tonight. We had a great show last night with Long Island Bigfoot, my guy Mike, who was in there earlier. Great show. We're going to have another great show tonight talking to our guest, Mr. Eugene Braxton. Yeah, we can do that, Zaddy. That's a great idea right there. Get Geraldine on the after hours. Yeah. I'm gonna write that down. Actually, that's a go. We'll reach out to Geraldine and see how she enjoys the after hours show. Yeah, great idea. All right, noted. Yeah, Susan Elway, I don't know what we have up the sleeve tonight. We have, we're going to have our guy come in a little later on for the paranormal report. And then, as long as we have some time afterwards, maybe we'll just break out some New Year trivia and get that going. So definitely stick around. And let's see. All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring in our guest for the night. Had a great conversation with it. Every time I talk to this guy, we have a great conversation, and I anticipate the same thing tonight. We're going to try not to jump back into a lot of the same topics as the previous episode. We wanted to actually try to continue the conversation. So any questions you guys have for Eugene tonight on this topic of near-death experience, out-of-body experience, make sure to put your questions in caps so we can go ahead and make sure that we ask those questions tonight. So here we go. Let's get into it and bring in our guest for the night. None other than Mr. Eugene Braxton. How are you, sir?
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Totally glad that we were able to get you back in here. We've talked numerous times, just sidebar, and then also on the show about the whole near-death experience thing, and it's a deep hole to go down. So we're going to go further down that hole tonight, and kind of pick up where we left off. I know we were talking, or you were being asked questions from the audience about the white light that you had mentioned on the previous show. Do you recall that part of your conversation?
I remember we were talking about the white lights. Yes, I don't remember the question.
Okay, just being taken in the white light and what the white light represents and what you think it is. So we can kind of get into it there. But other than that, before we do, how has your new year been so far?
Good. Yeah.
Good.
Normal.
Good.
I'm watching the current events, what's happening in the world.
Yeah, a lot of BS going on right now. A lot of distraction stuff going on right now, man, if you ask me. But have you been paying attention to any of the UFO stuff?
A little, yes.
Okay. So if you, based on what you know about what transpired last year with Grush and everything that happened within ufology, what was your grade of 2023?
What do you mean, my grade of 2020?
How would you grade the progress that was made, if any, within 2023 with all the different events and things that came up last year?
Yeah, I didn't see nothing really valuable in it.
Anything? Okay.
A lot of talking.
Yeah.
A couple of maybe possible sightings, who knows? But I didn't see anything worth looking deep into. It's more interesting to listen to it. More interesting to listen to an experiencer talk about their things than these clowns on TV. Yeah, they're not doing nothing.
Nah,
and like you said on
right.
one show, it'll be another 75 to 100 years before they tell us anything.
Yeah, it will be, sadly. So yeah, I mean, you're right about that. As far as the puppets that are sitting in front of the story, yeah, you're totally right about that. So that's cool. That's a cool perspective to have on everything because well, I end up talking about things sometimes that I may not be directly connected to because politics, for one, for me, I've talked many times that disclosure doesn't come that way. But I have to engage in it and kind of indulge in it a little bit just for conversation's sake, right? But I believe I'm with the same feeling that you have is on that. So yeah, but with that being said, I've been listening lately, and I brought this up to Long Island Bigfoot yesterday. There's been a lot of talk lately from these journalists and scientists who are speaking on the phenomenon, and they are starting to lean more towards the spiritual side of what this means, and kind of getting away from the initial narrative that we that okay, these things are traveling from another planet. They're more under the belief that I heard Tucker Carlson actually the other day talk about how the stuff that he has learned about this. I guess he's talked to people behind the scenes that this stuff scares him, to a point to where he doesn't even talk to his wife about it. So if this is leaning into a spiritual side of this, we got into talking about different realms and things when it pertains to near death experience. I'm just wondering if those two things are aligning more, by the minute, based on what they're talking about and based on what we've talked about as far as this place that you go when you leave your body during a near death experience. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Could you just sum up the question? Like what, you're talking
Yeah,
about
well,
Tucker.
essentially, how do you feel about? Okay, so how do you feel about the politicians and the scientists that are currently changing the narrative or moving it into this being more of a spiritual thing? This whole UFO phenomenon that we're going through, that it leans more into spiritual things. So with that being the mindset that maybe these things are spiritual, how do you think that plays into the spiritual context of a non near death experience? Do you think these things are aligning closer, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, the UFOs is definitely a spiritual thing. That's easy to see. Uh, Only like a hardcore scientist or an atheist would not think so. All you got to do is listen to some of the testimonies or about people who've had, UFO experiences, and you can see it's spiritual. A lot happens
Okay.
inside the head, inside the mind.
Okay. And so if you had to guess when they are, because obviously they're not elaborating, but when they talk about, because the word spiritual is the word that keeps being brought up. So if you had to guess based on what you know about near death experience, what aspect of spirituality do you think they are talking about when it pertains to this phenomenon?
Do I
What do
think the
you
scientists are talking about?
Yeah, what do you think their percept like when they say the word spiritual, that this can be spiritual? What do you think that they might be referring to, understanding what you know about spirituality when it comes to near death experience?
Well, as far as the UFO scientists go, a lot of them are trying to prove like the materialism of it, and then on the spiritual side of that, they don't know enough. Most don't know enough about spirituality to incorporate UFO research into that. A lot of these clowns are just people who work in buildings and take notes and stuff. Some of them have never seen a UFO. I work with Dr. Jacobs, the number one in the 90s UFO researcher, and he'd never seen one. He didn't believe in psychic abilities or spirituality. So in this way, it's mainly up to the person to decide for themselves what they believe. A lot of the experiencers know way more about the UFOs than the scientists ever will. So to rely only on them, like here's a quote that I use a lot, that science, as far as that kind of study, science lags woefully behind spirituality. It's way, they don't, every spirituality has proved every kind of fact that science has thought of, from pregnancy to the 3 days after death when you rise up. It's no, I don't really listen to the UFO scientists today like that. Maybe the ones from the 60s and 50s and 70s, but not the ones today.
Yeah, it just has me thinking, because when we talk about spirituality, I mean that would be the common one of the common things that we talk about when we talk about near death experiences. And then when we sometimes, people. So what I'm trying to figure out is if they are using spiritual in like a religious context, or are they, like what is the spiritual that they speak of? And I guess, we're just speculating, kind of throwing this around right now, but I guess it may be something that they go into detail with, hopefully this year. Hopefully they expound on what spiritual is, because if it's the same spiritual a sense that we speak about when we're talking about near death experiences, then we have a commonality there, and then maybe we can figure out why, what other things may be common about the two subjects. But so that's just me kind of thinking outside the box. But
yeah, I mean, like with them, a lot of them are in their own compartmentalized box of study, whether it be UFOs or consciousness studies or near death, and they don't know nothing, literally nothing, about the other fields. That was their mistake when I came into the thing, because it's mainly spiritual, less physical and material. But the UFO people, the ones these days, I don't really, like if really anyone before like after 2005 or 2000, they're not worth the time. It's better to study the old clowns from the 90s, the 80s, 70s, 60s, and then the experiences. But they're not trying to do anything UFO wise. And the life after death is more important than the UFO, because people will die. Not everyone will see an alien or be abducted, but we will die, and it won't be long. It comes quick, and it's always usually a surprise unless you have a lingering death. But the life after death thing it's for any human more important. The UFO thing is interesting and it's real, but that's a different kind of. It's almost equal to the near death in complexity, but
yeah.
that's something that.
And what
So I
here's
don't.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to
Go
say
ahead,
here.
Rob.
I was going to say that. I mean, so what it feels like they're trying to say is that these two things might be more closely related than we realize, and
Who
I'm
is
trying to.
saying who is
So,
saying that?
well, there's with the fact of the different people like Gary Nolan. You have reporters like Ross Coulthard. You have journalists like Tucker Carlson, and all these guys have turned around from initially kind of just looking into this to kind of doubling down on what they've heard about this phenomena, and that this phenomenon leads more into a spiritual side of it, but they don't go any further. So what I'm trying to say is that is where is there a connection between death and UFOs?
Okay,
Is there a connection between near death and UFOs?
that's
Because
yeah. You ask the right question, you get the right answer or a good answer.
yeah,
Is there? What do you think?
Well, I mean that's really the question that I mean, like I say, there's a new question every day because we're walking through this and figuring this out together. So that's the question of the day. I
With
think potentially
with
maybe,
go ahead.
but there you would need more. I think you would need more data to be, for that carry any substance. And the question that comes to me is, what else would they know to make a statement like that? We brought this up yesterday, and are we about to find out that this might have ties to what we experienced during near death or even in death, like where the connection is between these two things. In the spiritual part of it is what makes me feel like that.
Where they're at now, they don't even know their field. So it's impossible to jump to another field, understand it thoroughly, and then look for any kind of what they think might be a connection. They barely know the UFO field, and the experiencers know more. And so they're not going to, because the near-death researchers and the ones that I work with, the top two, had no inkling that kind of connection to them was as far removed as we are from the Babylonians with their swords and fire sticks. So they're not going to, they can imagine, especially like a writer, a Hollywood writer, that would be good, but they're too far away from any kind of deep understanding about life after death and the near death to then see what the connection would be to the UFO thing. Other scientists have done some work, but he discarded it.
Okay. So then let me ask just your opinion. Do you feel like near death ties into the phenomenon in any way? Or if it does, where do you think it ties into the phenomenon?
Yeah. It's not readily seen. Like here's a quote from my book, like, track the shadow, not the hand. And you want to look beyond like the surface of things, so you can penetrate any veil, any illusionary veils that are in both of those realms. These illusionary veils that you have to penetrate to see the pure reality of what is happening is not easy, because the illusions themselves, as they're happening, and then when you wake back up, are so powerful that those fake images that you believe you see, and you do see, have after effects. The illusions have after effects in real life after you get back, in addition to the after effects of the paranormal experience. That's a lot for people to handle too. People go over the edge just from the after effects. The scientist can surmise, but the experiencer has the most capacity to penetrate those realms. And you do have to understand them both thoroughly to see if there's any kind of commonality or any kind of pattern or connectedness. For a lot of researchers, I think that's a pretty far leap, because the near-death researchers that I work with had no understanding, and they're way ahead of the normal near-death researcher. But there are some interesting things that I saw with the UFO, alien abduction. And it's not just UFO, it's also alien abduction. People are afraid to talk about and use that word for some reason, conferences. I guess it doesn't sell like that, but there is something dark happening with that UFO thing. And as the near death brings primal ecstasy, the alien abduction almost always brings primal fear, and people freak out. And that's why they're maybe afraid to release information, because they know how people act. And it's a natural thing with that. When there's a triangle right over your house and you walk out and don't notice it until you get under it, it's like the hairs stand up. You have strong after effects after a UFO encounter and abduction. And the same with the near death. And of course, life after death. One is divine in nature, and the other one is super esoteric, where it's that UFO thing is a really head changing thing. And after repeated experiences, though, you can begin to see into it, and then after time, you can see more into it. But it takes a while and plenty of experiences for the person to get used to every dimensional level and every level of consciousness, because you're more awake or less awake in different levels. And also the reality of what they see, because the illusions and the reality of those experiences are so intertwined. In the experience, they become one single reality. And then in time, upon reflection, and then upon spiritual knowledge and advancement, you can see the difference between the reality of what you went through and the illusion. And if during the experience you look directly at what you're seeing, you will begin to merge into it, and then you can see the reality of what it is all at once. And with that kind of training or ability, then an experiencer researcher could probe more deeply into those realms, into both of them. One's horrific, the reality of it, and then the other is divine and ecstatic. I mean, really ecstatic, when you're reverberating with orgasmic, rippling waves. So they're both super incredible experiences, and one first has to learn the first one, and then the other one. Researchers don't even know the full complexities of the UFO experiences. I keep hearing someone knocking at the window, but sun is right in the next room, so we'll be all right. So that's a deep thing, those two things, and a head thing too. Although in the near death, life after death, the spirit separates from the physical, and that's that out of body. That's a deep thing too. It is more profound than the alien abduction and the UFO sightings, but the after effects are just as heavy, and they're both extreme. Like my UFO abduction after effects were very extreme because I was only 19. And then I had the near death at 15. So I had a lot jammed in when I was a young. And I was able to, for years, reflect back on it, study it in my 20s and 30s, and then reach out to the world authorities in my late 30s. And then I've been doing that, like now I've been a half of my life I've been in this research. But it's worth it. But both are deep experiences. And like with the near death, a lot of people, there's a memory issues. Like I found 7 memory issues in the near death. Let me see, I think I have them written, yeah. Now here's memory problems just in the near death, and the UFO has their own memory things too, just as strong, and for different reasons. But the problems associated with the clarity, accuracy, and memory retention in the near death. We have lapses in consciousness. I've explained that in the last thing, and can again. We have false memories. We have the illusionary veils that move and interact with you while the experience is happening. We have problems with memory recall, problems with memory retention, problems with memory retrieval, going back to get the information, memory accuracy, and problems with memory suppression, how they suppress it in both experiences. So memory is a thing too. The world authorities say that only 1 in 10 go into the white light. Only 1 in 4 remember their near death. That's a low amount for a researcher to deal with.
Right.
The experiencers are the ones, because most don't come forward to tell their story. A lot do now because of YouTube and stuff, but most don't come forward, especially to work with or get picked by a scientist and then say, come on in, I want to see what you what happened to you. And so a lot of people keep it inside. And like I didn't tell anyone about my near death until for years, like 10 years. But I had multiple experiences happening all through my teens that gradually slowed down decade by decade. But each decade I learned more. Like those experiences will give you exponential knowledge. That's a side effect. You'll just know stuff. You'll know it automatically. That's part of the mystic track too, to get immediate intuition or knowledge from God or the ultimate source. And you can get it automatically. You get it, it becomes so natural that you just only go on that. You don't even have to plan things out. You can just tell the universe what you want. And the mysticism's tenet is to search for God, a one-on-one union with God. The heck with all the other churches and popes and all that. They're nothing. The person has to have a one-on-one direct connection in union to mix in with him, or a marriage with God. And then you become who you really are. You self-actualize to the fullest. And those after effects of self-actualization increase every year for the rest of your life. So it's a good thing to be in, a good thing to study. The UFO thing is a little scary. And I've seen some dark demonic signs. There's much demonism. There's a lot of darkness in the UFO abduction.
Yeah, I agree, and I guess that's where the conversation starts to heat up, because when they talk about spiritual, they point towards those in religions, within religions, being affected by the news that may be coming down the pipeline. And everybody, just so you know, I do see your questions, and I am saving those for Eugene. So definitely get those out there, and we'll ask them at the end of the second hour. But so there, it's just because they're hinting that whether it be a god, related to a god, that the spiritual side of the UFO situation might tie into what people believe about religion. And so if it ends up being the case that these subjects end up being a lot closer than you would notice on the face. So I think that's just pretty interesting that's the way that the conversation is moving towards spirituality, gods, and things of that nature, when we were at nuts and bolts UFOs, traveling through space. So it's just weird that it's taking that turn, and it's the reason why I brought that up. But
you know what? This is the perfect time. What's it? 2024. It's been about 24 years for the researchers too. The people have already sensed the spiritual connection, but now the researchers, from the amount that they've seen in the people and their data from studying the people, even though they don't believe, they know that the people are right. There is a high. It's more than. It's definitely a spiritual thing with the UFO thing. I mean, people walking through walls, that's spiritual. People getting into your dreams, that's a heavy thing, that UFO thing.
Yeah, and where it could be going. So I mean, that's why I brought that up, because 2024 is the conversation. This seems to be the conversation that they want to start having, and I guess it might be something that's brought up a lot more as we get into the year. But we talked about before with near-death experience. I know I asked you. I watched the other video back. I don't think we went too deep into it, but I did ask you if this place or this realm where it seems like you go during near-death experience, do you think that this is an actual place, like a physical place where our spirits are being held while we wait to transition? I know you may recall that question I asked you on the last show, but if you could kind of get into that would be great.
Yeah, so you want to know about the place where we go? Is that a real place?
Is it a real place, or what is your view on that place that we go during a near-death experience?
Yeah, that That afterlife, that's that middle ground, which some people call the second heaven, that's in between earth and the actual heaven where God is. That's it's a nonverbal, symbolic, thought actuated dimensional realm. It's you really don't say anything because you think it in your mind, but it's nonverbal, it's symbolic where anything might float out of, just materialize in front of you and float by, or interact with you, or interface with you is a better word. And in my near death, I interfaced with this brown, like cloud-like thing, and it was sad, like the color brown sometimes is shown to be. And then it bounced away. And then with those things, you just observe it without emotion. In those realms, you don't really have emotions like the kind we have down here for ambition, for greed, for lust. Those are gone. You're more. It's you are actually your higher self when you leave the body, and those emotions like that, revenge and stuff, you don't have that. There's always, like I said before, a striving upward to go to the highest level. There's always a striving towards God, and that's the nature of human beings, whether they know it or not. Eventually, they all will find God in some way, but that's a real dimension. It's just it's an invisible dimension that interpenetrates our own, like a gyroscope or an atom. It's just like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are levels, though, like what we would know as horizontal levels that you go up. And how awake you are is according to your level of consciousness, which you can develop here while awake. So the higher the level of consciousness, the higher the level of conscious awareness you are in when you get to the higher levels. Then it's easier to remember it if you're more awake in those levels. But there are some people who literally go through the level and are almost asleep through it. I've had out of bodies, and I've heard of people who had out of bodies where you're having an out of body, you're flying, and you'll see someone standing up, fully asleep, flying too, or laying down asleep, flying. So the out of bodies, the dreams in the out of bodies are the basis for all these other rooms of God's paranormal mansion. And if you can develop and master the dreams, out of bodies will naturally follow. And then you'll be psychic in the daytimes once you start getting into the out of body stages, where you feel the paralyzations, which, so yeah, the more the person develops as a psychic, then like a seer, and then mystic, you'll automatically have these experiences. You automatically know about them. They'll come to you, and they'll be good experiences too. You want to have the high development in every aspect of yourself, and it has to be a good balance: physical, mental, emotional, where you deal well with people, and the more you can control your emotions here, the better you'll be able to do it in a dream or out of body experience. Like just with the sleep paralysis, you have to greatly control your emotions there, because the more you react in shock or surprise, the tighter the paralysis will get. And that's a freaky thing too, but that's a super important thing that is way overlooked. Maybe I can talk about that later.
Definitely.
But
And I had a
so this,
question, as far as like, do you think, or do you feel that there are differences between, we'll just talk about out of body, between astral projection, or what people feel that is or think that is? What is the difference between that and then an out of body experience, or are they related, or are they the same thing? What do you think about that?
yeah, the astral projection shows like a mastery or a great ability to control and do it regularly. That's what astral projection, when you can regularly do it. But anyone can fall down, like a football player, get hit hard and have an out of body, be out of their body temporarily. But astral projection is when you do it over and over and over. You can
Mm,
semi-control it. And that brings some deep things too. All these things, the out of bodies, the breathings, the meditations, all those things help to develop the person. And the person has to know about all of them and practice them, the crystals. And the better the person is as a human, the better manners and health and intelligence, that'll help you a lot. Because God will develop those who are highly developed and who want to develop. He'll help you. And so self-development goes along with that. And there's a lot to learn and know about and understand. Like remote viewing is one of the things. You know what, Rob? So remember, you know Dr. J from the Philadelphia 76ers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Julius Irving. So his son went missing in the year 2000. So I was in Philly. I said, I'm going to remote view him and find him. So I did. And I had done it before with a Spanish kid in California that went missing. But I only told my son. So this time I said, let me tell 4 people that if anyone asks, these will be good. So I told a Philly newspaper editor, a Black Philadelphia radio announcer, a Philadelphia cop, and someone else along those lines. And it came out to exactly where I had remote viewed him. He was in a pond beyond their house. Maybe the pond might have been 100 yards behind their house, and the car was in the pond. And the blood came up from the car that showed me that he had died there. And so, yeah, but all those, just from the study, even from the study alone of it, a person can begin to have psychic experiences. But when you purposely do it, with the breathings, the proper acting and thinking, the higher learning and studying all the books of the esoteric, and especially if you can get an actual book. They have good stuff online too, but there's something about reading a book that really is, and some of those old books were super deep. But they all bring psychic benefits. Like you'll have good health, the remote viewing, all of that. It's interesting.
So, and I don't know if you answered this on the previous show, but I think it's an important question. So, are those with the remote viewing, the astral projection, the out of body experience, the near death experience, just going all the way down the line, even down to dreams? Is that a shared space between those different things? That realm that we're talking about, that secondary place, is that shared between each one of those things I just named off?
Yeah, those abilities usually operate in that second dimension, that second heaven. We might as well just call it the invisible world. It's the world where we go to recharge when we go to sleep, where our spirit body comes out of the physical. And we also dream in that world. Remote viewing occurs there because it's a mental thing where you see inside your mind what you're looking for. That would be classified. And that world's also a world of levels of consciousness, where the person is either fully asleep, partially awake, And there's usually I have about 7 to 9 different levels. Like there might be 4 main ones and then sub ones underneath the main ones. So, and we can get into that too, because whenever a person's level of consciousness changes, how aware you are during the experiences, there'll also be a change in the physiology of the invisible spirit body. And when those 2 things occur, a change in your level of consciousness and a change in your invisible spirit body, there will also be a change in dimensional space and time. So that's how we go from here to there in the invisible realms. The level of consciousness, how awake you are changes. And one deep breathing could wake you up fully, especially in a dream or an out of body. I've tried them. Whenever there's a change in your level of consciousness, there's an automatic and equal change in the physiology of your invisible spirit body. It'll change according to your thoughts. And like time is motion and motion and thought are a unity. And so it's deep. There's a lot of good information to learn about and practice and experience. And I would always recommend starting off at the dreams with the deep breathings. Then out of bodies will naturally come. Same with psychic abilities, but they'll happen during the sleep stages until you hit the out of bodies. Then you'll begin to have the psychic experiences in real life. So you'll have them 24/7. If you keep developing, you'll become occurrence prone where they won't stop. Um, and depending on how you train, they'll come easily or they can come hard. It depends on how seriously the person takes this. But if you do it, because I really, and the more the desire, some people say the intention. An intention is like a focused desire, but the desire, the hunger for it. Everyone intends to do something, but desire can be so strong. It can literally
Mhm.
move things to you just because you want them so bad. And it's a different school when you want invisible things, but they're not hard to get once you know how.
Yeah, so and I got a list of other questions on this here. So what we'll do for now is pause for the cause for our first break of the night, and then we'll be back right here with Eugene Braxton, getting into more of this near death experience stuff and trying to just wrap our minds around this. I do see a question here in the chat, so we will be asking those at the bottom of the next hour. So you guys just hold back, kick back for a minute, and we'll be right back here at Space Style Radio. All right, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, as we jump back in and continue with our guest for the night, Eugene Braxton. Going to jump in to some more of these questions that we actually have for him here. But while we're waiting here, the SOR fan party, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Make sure you guys get your tickets as soon as you can. Itinerary goes as follows. Friday, Jessica, myself, and Dave will be hosting 1 hour each. After that show is going to be the VIP party. So it's gonna definitely turn up right after we do the show. Saturday, we have the ghost hunt with Merle Saturday night. Will be UFO skywatching with Melinda Leslie, hopefully catching some awesome things there, especially if someone brings a Psionics camera. I think some success may be had. And then Sunday, if you're able to stay, is going to be a free-for-all hangout. So definitely make sure you're there. Come and see SOR fan favorites like Science Bob, Lala Bright, Tim Senor, Jim Goodall, Melinda Leslie, Merle, Lorian Fenton, Dr. Michael P. Masters, and more. Can meet Dirty Filth, Jessica Jones. Come meet me because I want to meet you. Everyone is invited. Like I said before, we're going to go ahead and have dinner, and we're going to order breakfast for dinner to piss Dave Scott off. Let me know. We can get it all set up. It'll be $60 a ticket. $100 gets you all the VIP swag bags plus the ticket. Rooms have been on sale for as low as $139 per night, less than triple the price of Las Vegas. It is the perfect gift. And yes, we do understand this happens during Mother's Day weekend. But your wife, your daughter, your niece deserves this. So go ahead and sign up today. Email your request for tickets to info@spacedoutradio.com because we cannot wait to meet you. So definitely jumping back into hour number 2 here with our guest, Eugene Braxton. And Eugene, I had a question here. Just kind of wanted to ask. Maybe we can get something from this. But have there been any reported cases that you know of, like a shared NDE or out of body experience involving multiple people? Anything that you've heard of or that you know of?
Yeah, I've heard of them happening. Like, two people have died at the same time. They go over the waterfalls, and then they both come out of their bodies, and that would easily be possible. Yeah. It's in. I may look into those more. I'd like to see. I may look into those more, but I've heard of them. Yeah, you hear a lot of stories. But that's definitely possible, and I'm sure that's happened, because the person will come out of their body, and with those shared death people, they usually regain consciousness after death, approximately the same time, which is 15 to 22 seconds. You'll pop back awake, and you'll remember who you are. So I could see that happening. I believe that.
Okay. Has there been, as far as you know, any situations where someone who has gone or had one of these experiences, near death or out of body, ended up coming back with like additional information that they could not have picked up anywhere else? Like, have you heard of anything like that?
Yeah, that always happens with an out of body or a near death. That always happens.
So what is it? What if you could explain, like, what exactly are they just? What is it? What type of information do they know, or give an example of what additional info they come back with?
Some people come back with future knowledge of what will happen in the future. Some people come back with knowledge of what happened in the past, like a kid who had a near death will go to their parent and say, "What happened to my baby brother?" That was the miscarriage that they never told the kid about, and so things like that, But they all come back with knowledge and the psychic abilities. That naturally happens.
And I've always thought about. Yeah, go ahead. Finish that.
The near death and the out of body just expand those psychic qualities that we have in us but are asleep. So the near death and out of body, and they're not the same thing. The near death is a spiritual out of body, but both expand our normal psychic abilities into a level where we can see them and work with them. They're kind of dormant now. We don't use them at all.
Yeah, and I've wondered with that being said, if you have those situations that we've heard about. I think there was one as recently as 2019. I know I looked it up on my channel when I talked about this originally, but are cases and have been cases over history where you'll have a kid, for instance, or just anyone really, that has an obvious near-death experience and probably out-of-body experience as well, where they have gone into some sort of coma, and then when they come back to, they can do things like speak another language fluently and come back with skills or talents that they didn't have prior to going through this traumatic experience. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that happens too. Yeah, they really changed. I mean, people come back. A little kid can play classical piano.
Yeah,
All those,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
all those things. The guy in a wheelchair is able to walk now. They become more of who they are, and those experiences just expand them. They become more universal, you could say.
That's
They
pretty
become
crazy. It's
more
pretty wild.
interdimensional. Yeah.
And so when you think about that, obviously they're it's most likely not all taking place right there in their brain, all of these changes and things that are occurring. So it kind of leans more into the feeling and belief by a lot of people that you do actually leave your body during these situations. And let's see, SG Nav Spotter 310 says, I was gone for 22 minutes, DOA at the hospital, head-on collision. Was told they were about to zip me up until the doctor tried one last time, electric shocks, and then brought you back. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that when you hear experiences like that, people who have actually gone through a near-death experience and can tell you information like that, it just, I think I asked you this on the last show, if, how quickly you're able to come back to your body in the event that you're being brought back or resuscitated, or if, someone is there speaking to you while you're unconscious and you come back to, like, how far away are you from your physical being? Are you literally in some other place, or are you like right across that veil, I guess you can call it?
You're kind of both. During the near death or an out of body, you can have a dual consciousness. I remember explaining about it last time, but a good example is where the person is on the operating table. He feels the doctor working on him, yet he's outside of his body at the same time, looking down at the doctor. And as the doctor saws through his arm, the spirit body can feel it, and so can the physical. And if the person decides, I want to look at the doctor's face from my body, you're in your body again, and you can see the doctor's face. And so there's a dual, and both are awake at the same time, because the subconscious of us, our spirit mind, is the conscious mind of our spirit body. Our spirit body has its own mind too. It's our subconscious. And that's where we get those hunches and ideas and like that. And the spirit body has more power, more ability, and knows how to get exactly what we want. All we have to do is ask it. But first we have to get to know it fully, where you communicate with your higher self regularly, every minute, every hour, until you just, like I do, I just let the subconscious do it. The conscious mind, the mind we use now, is the boss. But once those two minds begin talking back and forth to each other non-verbally, then you can have anything you want in this world easily, because the spirit will go get it for you, especially if it's good. If it's bad, it will reverse back on you, and you'll get smoked when you least expect it. But if it's good, there's nothing that you cannot do, especially when you bring God into it too. Whew.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to jump into some few audience questions, and we'll jump back into some other questions after. First audience question that I had here. Let's see. Was from Jenny White Bear. Eugene, what are your thoughts of New Earth and aliens adjusting our DNA to allow us to make the transition?
Hi, Jenny. Yeah, I believe they easily could do that. They might be. Now, initially, my UFO abductions were like pleasant learning levels, where I saw the clowns in the hoods and the little ones. And at that time, I was young, like at least maybe 8 to 13, especially during the young teens. But as I got older, and even back then, because there were suppressed memories that surfaced once I began learning more about the experiences, the UFO abductions, and once I reflected on it more too. Some people blank it out fully, and I blanked mine out. But the older I got, the more confident you get in your teens. Then in your 20s, you can look back. It's easy to freak out an 8-year-old or a 13-year-old. Not so hard a 23-year-old or a 30-year-old or
Right.
40. So but I believe that the aliens could easily do that, and something is awakening spiritually in humans, even though we're at our most damaging. Those are the other bad ones. They're the people who are in the right positive spiritual flow are a lot, probably 60%. They're definitely the majority, and they're advancing rapidly. See, in this time, because of what is happening now intergalactically, people are either rising up to a high level or sinking down to a super thug-like cave level. It's no really in between. You're either doing something that's happening, or you're sinking down into a low position. You can look on the news and see these clowns going wild. Wild.
I agree. And we have another question here coming from President Zaddy, asking, can something possess your body while you're playing in the devil's playground, i.e. astral projection? And does this explain deja vu?
I don't think, well, something, let's see. In the astral, there are attempts of possession, astral possession, but in reality, they cannot break through and claim your spirit body. They can try to manipulate you psychologically, where you're thinking something, or they might put an image in front of you, but they cannot literally kidnap your spirit body and claim it as its own. They would have to dispense of their own spirit body. But as demonologists, they cannot take your astral, but they can get into your physical. It's and that's interrelated too. People always, they should look more at the possible dark side of UFO connection to darkness than the UFO life after death, because there's more evidence for demonology in the world than there is for UFOs. And there's something, Dr. Jacobs saw that. There was something dark about that. Because he didn't believe in the spiritual thing, he wasn't going to believe in any kind of God or devil. I got him around to believing in it in 14. But there's something, and the old school researchers understood that too, like Hynek and them, that there's something not right about, especially about the abduction. But as I got older as a kid, what were learning levels were also interspersed with extreme, horrific alien abductions. And the older I got, I could see what was really happening. That I was learning stuff, but there was things going on beyond the learning that were suppressed. And I have the physical scars to prove it, right between my legs. I've told you about the scars. They're huge, and they stretch like rubber bands. So when you have that kind of stuff happen to you, you want to find out what that is. And I had them young. At age 12, I had them. Yeah.
All right. I got a couple other ones here. Let's see. I got Samantha Hazelwood Gray asking Eugene, can you tell me about the umbilical cord attachment when having an OBE? I remember you touched on this on a previous show with Dave.
Yeah. Hi, Samantha. That's a good question. The umbilical cord, or what their Bible calls the silver cord, is a literal astral umbilical cord that connects you to your physical body while you're high up in the clouds. And it pulses in accordance to your own heartbeat. And you can look at it. When you want to see it, you just look for it and it appears there. It materializes in front of you. Remember, it's a thought-actuated world. So if you want to see something, where your mother is, or the umbilical cord, the silver cord, you can look down and it will just turn on. So one day I was having an astral, I was playing in the astral form, in the clouds, in real time. It was like 10 after 7 in the morning. I knew I had to go to school. I was playing and I felt the tugging. And it was attached to my belly button. And I felt the tugging. I looked down and I saw a long cord attached to me that went all the way down to the house, below. And I was up near the clouds. And I wasn't going to go in because I was doing somersaults and stuff. And then suddenly, at one time I was tug of war pulling against it because it knew that my body needed the spirit body back in it. And it yanked me through the clouds back into my bed. And I woke up with a slight headache that went away. But yeah, it's a real thing. Another time I was walking down the street of my old block, going to a drugstore to get some comic books. I was like 12. And it was early in the morning again. There's certain times that are good to try out of bodies too. I'll mention them after we finish. So I was walking, I felt a tugging. This time it was at the back of my head. And I leaned forward and it kept tugging. And because that's the use of the will. When I said, I'm going to this store, even though it was closed, because it's like 5:15 in the morning, it dragged me by my heels all the way back to my room. And so that silver cord is the thermometer that tells you when you have to come back in. And if the physical body is in danger because you've been out of it too long and the breathing is low, it'll bring you home no matter what you're doing so that the physical body can live. Because the physical body is the boss. And the God consciousness, subconsciousness will make sure that they do whatever. You're not going to have an out of body if your body's in danger. It's going to bring you back. And that's what the umbilical cord is for.
Okay. And we have, let's see, we got Zaddy as another one in here. He has, hi, Eugene, how are you? Are you familiar with what CERN is doing? Are they trying to break the evil?
Break the veil, yeah. Yeah, I was looking into CERN, and it's kind of scary that, they're even allowed to do that. And I was checking in with the, what's the name of the group? They'll come to me in a second. But that's not cool what they're doing. What they're trying to do is pierce through the invisible veil or barrier that separates us from the outside of us. The Earth has a magnetic barrier around it too. Supposedly that this keeps out the outside invisible demons. But with that CERN piercing of the ionosphere, these things supposedly can get it and have been getting in. That would easily account for the all these people going wild. Father kills the whole family, then himself, and houses are exploding for no reason. It's a lot of wild. So I could easily see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then we got Jenny Whitebeard asking Eugene, what are your thoughts on new aliens helping us to physically change to help us to transition? Question mark.
Well, if they are trying to, a lot depends on what they're trying to get us to transition to. Like maybe it's like merging us into their life forms. I think the natural transition that we normally take is best for us. I don't think it's good for us to be upgraded in a way that we don't have any kind of comprehension of, or that's not, fully in our volition. I think that each stage should progress at its own level, and people are progressing rapidly without any kind of deep intervention from the aliens. Although I asked Betty Hill this, she was a family friend, and I was doing a film with her right then that I'll bring out soon. But I asked her, this is the one question she couldn't answer. I said, do you think people mistake aliens for angels? And she had never thought of that because they have super similar patterns.
Right.
And there are some good aliens, but I'm more concerned with the ones who, are not so good.
Yeah, and then Kira with the super chat. Thank you for the support, Kira. Eugene, you resonate the energy of angels and appreciate you so much. Rob, you are awesome too. Blessings to you and all. Thank you very much, Kira. We do appreciate that.
Thanks, Kira.
And we had another question here. Two more questions. One came from President Zaddy. States, my daydreams become reality. Am I manifesting or seeing into the future?
It sounds like a combination of both, but I would say if they're actual daydreams, I would say that they're daydreams that are becoming reality. It's the same thing. Like if you're dreaming of something that you want to happen, and then visualizing or seeing it into the future, it's very close. But dreams do become reality. Dreams may be a prevision of what will come, especially if you have a concentrated focus of what you want. Once you'd be surprised how fast you can get something if you know exactly to the T what you want and can see it in your mind. So that I didn't realize it when I was younger, but that visualization thing is super good. The more you can visualize, the more the faraway object begins to materialize. And then when you put belief in with that visualization and action to getting it, it starts to come to you and come fast too. So that's why they say, be careful what you wish for, because nowadays there's something happening where you can easily get what you want, especially if it's good. But you want to get to that point, and the person will get to that point of becoming a higher human being where you don't even want nothing. You've already gone to that manifesting stage where you've gotten so everything that you want that you don't want anything. That's the true freedom, when you don't need anything. But if there's a way that you can get anything you want, yes, and it starts with knowing what you want. Then it kind of starts to come to you.
And we have a last question here for now coming from Guy Calgary. Kind of brings us right back into where we need to be. Guy was asking, out of body equals near-death experience, question mark. Are those the same? How do they relate?
Anyone can have an out of body, even an atheist. But the near-death is a spiritual out of body. It's super different. You're way more awake. The experiences are more vivid. Usually the out of body of a normal out of body, maybe even in black and white, and you might see glittering around the streets or around the lights when you look at a light. The out of body is usually a solo thing where you're by yourself, or if you interact with people during an out of body, they may not seem to recognize, hear, or see you. That's because you may be in real life but invisible. Where the near death is definitely a spiritually oriented thing. You resurrect after death. You regain consciousness after death. You move up and strive to move up to higher levels. You have the life review. You see God, you meet God, and you mix in with God, even if you don't remember it. So anyone who's come, even like you can almost get hit by a car, but the car never touches you, and you thought you were going to die. They call that a near-death-like experience, and that counts too. I've had a lot that I didn't count until I heard about that term. But they're different. One's just super spiritual, and the other is just normal. It's not as heightened.
Okay. And then the question I had is during a near death or out of body experience, is there any real concept of time, or is it like, you may go to sleep for 15 minutes, but you've had this expansive dream within that time. So is there any real reference of time? I would probably say no, but what do you think about that?
There's no kind of time. Like there, time is like an eventual thing. Like if an event happens, like you have a life review and you're seeing what you did when you were a kid, that's a time in space. There is no linear thing where you go from it's automatic. Like if you want to go to China, you pop, you're there. So there's no measuring distance for time where you can say that happened then, because everything is just now. You almost don't even think about yesterday, and you don't think about tomorrow. You're only immersed in what you're doing right then.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good answer. Good answer. So let's see. How do you feel, or do you feel that an out of body experience or near death experience would conflict with any particular religious belief? So, I guess within religions, do they accept out of body experiences as and near death experiences as we're talking about them today, or are they
Yes.
described as other things?
Yeah, they accept them, especially with everyone knowing and talking about them. But they did before, but they were just hush about it. They would tell, they didn't, and they probably didn't know a lot, but they probably knew more than did back then. But there's been so many religious figures who've had near deaths and out of bodies in dream visions, and they know that's in there. But for some reason, they never taught the people that in church, which they should have, because it could have advanced. Maybe they wanted us to be dependent on their knowledge. But if you look yourself, you'll find more knowledge than any priest or teacher can teach you. Self knowledge, if you study and dig the answers, you'll find them, and you'll enjoy it because you've worked to get them. And also talking with different people, because more can be learned in normal conversation like this than in all the arts and sciences. There's a lot of knowledge in people. That's what the governments and stuff, they make a mistake of not thinking it. They got some sharp people in the world. The normal people are super smart, and they're always underestimated.
Now, this is something that goes back to like probably the first thing I asked you in this conversation, leading off with the white lights. So, are you able to kind of go into detail about the whole concept of like the tunnel of lights that people mention when experiencing near death experiences? Could you go into what those are? I think you stated there's different types of lights, and if you could kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, I can. There is no actual tunnel in the near death. What that tunnel is the person visualizing the feeling of coming out of bodily separation. When they're going up, they're actually coming out, and that tunnel is when they're coming out of their body. And but what was the second part of that, Rob?
Just are you
The
able to kind of
lights.
elaborate, yeah, on when people mention those tunnel of lights, what is it that they're seeing? If you could talk about that.
In fact, that tunnel is one of the more powerful spiritual illusions in the near death. It does occur, but not in reality. And so, in that other world, they have their own separate reality. That happens, but not to us physically here, except that we can remember it. But it does happen to our spiritual body. That's a weird thing with dreams too, where you have the dream. I had a dream I was dunking the basketball, and I woke up right at the dunk. And you know those dreams are real somewhere, except when you wake up, you just can't get back to them. But they're super real, especially when you're in them, in the dimension of your mind. And the breathings will help the person be more awake in this world and in the other world. Yeah.
Okay, and I want to take time to thank Lightwalkers for your $9.99 super sticker, and Livera Lucchini with your $2 super chat. We do appreciate both of your support for Spaced Out Radio and what it is that we do here. So definitely want to thank you guys for your support today. And let me see, I'm just jumping in to see. I know there was at least another question here that came up from Paramarv. Paramarv asked, John Lear years ago said the moon was for collecting souls and to not go towards the light as it's a trick. Any thoughts on if this is legit and or where this idea came from? You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I've heard a lot about the moon and stuff. But see, when the person gets to that point where they're headed towards a light or they see a light, the person will naturally, instinctively, and sometimes without even realizing it, just attune to the right direction. You'll naturally know in advance if anything is threatening or you're not feeling it. And you'll either naturally appear in the right place, especially during a near death. And there's like the scientist, I mentioned the controller. There's a controlling figure that roams every paranormal experience and corridor. And the scientists called it the controller. I called it the controlling agent in charge. And they neglected to inform the public about the controller because it represented a God force or the opposite of God force, and that wasn't happening back then on college campuses. So, but there is a controlling element in all of these experiences, overwatching and interacting with as it will, especially on the behalf of people. So, and the scientists couldn't call it God because a lot of them don't even believe, and then their deans would be on them. So they called it the controller, and they left that part out of their research, but I brought it in. And the controller is a godlike figure. And I read the thing that I had about the controller, what he does, and how he interacted with my near death. Do you want me to repeat it? I know it by heart.
Sure.
Okay, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it goes with this picture right here. Let's see, I just take this down. This is the picture that it goes with.
Okay.
And this is kind of what happened to me during the near death. It shows all the things that I went through.
Jeez.
I actually should make a poster out of that. But because he controls our life and death, it is the controller. Because he cannot be easily seen, he is the agent. It is he, God, the controlling agent in charge. Like a spiritual hunter, did I look for God's spiritual tracks throughout my NDE, completely sensing him, but never seeing him until stage 12, the final stage before resurrection. In time, the controller's footprints appeared throughout my near death to my physical and spiritual vision, during and years after the near death. Stalking God's spiritual tracks involved analyzing a prevailing truth beyond the illusionary veils in several of the near-death stages, but confirming the essence identity of God could only be attained by melding back into my near-death and also into God's present essence as well, with confirmation coming suddenly and completely. And that kind of explains what happened in my near-death, and also it explains for the second book too, which deals with the aliens.
Nice. That is nice. That is nice. I do have a question for you. Have there been anything you can point to that would outline like any sort of long-term effects that people may suffer from having near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences? Do they come back okay? I know some cases they come back with knowledge they didn't have before, but have there been any signs that people are negatively impacted by having these near-death or out-of-body experiences? Anything that you can point to?
Not really. Not really. It usually enhances the person. Even say a negative out of body, they do see that, wow, I can exist outside my body and there's a double of me. I can see myself lying in bed, yet I'm out the window, floating in the air. So they do see it's a different reality. But and there's just from one out of body, you can have psychic abilities that will burst forth. But no real negative things, except from you might get a negative reaction from the people who you mistakenly tell about these experiences. The person should, until they've fully mastered them, keep these things kind of to themselves or to someone else who's in that same mindset. They should be personal, and they are. And usually the person themselves can primarily understand and comprehend it. But the person should consider them and think them over for at least 5 or 10 years before going out. And you see people that say, oh, I had a near death or I had a UFO. And then 2 years later, they're running out and they're on TV. And I know this time is now, but you need time to comprehend and reflect on everything, because some things aren't as simple as they may seem. There's layers to everything. And the longer you reflect on them, the more you'll see into it.
All right. And want to take time to mirror Filthy with this comment. Filthy, thanks for coming in, saying hit that like button with the steel chair. I agree. Definitely hit the likes. You guys have been doing a great job on that thus far, letting us know that you like the content that you're getting. So we do appreciate that, even though we will always continue to raise the bar here. And then right behind that, we did get a Woo Tribe Activate from Tamothman, super chat for $10. So we do appreciate you, Tamothman. Thanks for showing the love and supporting Spaced Out Radio here at After Hours. We do appreciate that. And let's see. So with that, we did have another one from Zaddy, and I'm going to ask it anyway because it'll take us. We'll come back, obviously, to what our main topic here. But Zaddy did ask, are you up to date with the Miami UFO incident that they say opened a portal and shadow beings came out of it? Sounds like the Babylon experiment at JPL, Jack Parsons Labs, Jet Propulsion Lab. Are you familiar with that? And what did you think about that comparison?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Parsons and his rocketry. The Miami incident, the way the guy was describing it did sound like a being came out of a portal, and also the way where he was watching it'd be here and then here. You know, that's interesting too, because a lot of times things move like that in the invisible realms. Like it'll be here and then suddenly here. The sun that I saw after I died that came over the horizon was here, then here. So that's an interesting visual thing, because you would figure that we'd be able to pick it up visually, since we have that 360-degree vision. But with that kind of vibratory rate, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me see here. With that being said, let me see. So what type of research, what is the field that would specialize in researching this topic? Like, what scientific field is there? Is there a field that looks into near-death experiments, near-death experiences, and out-of-body experiences? Who was over that?
For those two, yeah, they have fields of out-of-body experiences study and near-death studies. They've had those for a while, since the 70s.
And what have they figured? Have they come to a lot of the same conclusions on this, or what is their outlook? What do you, from what you have looked into?
Yeah, I worked with Atwater and Grayson. They were the two, number 1 and 2. She's now number 1. He's considered the dean. Uh, the people now, see, with the universities studies, they get grants. So the more they can stretch out the research, Rob, the more grants they get. Let's try and go for another 5-year grant from the Templeton Foundation. And then so it becomes a grant cash thing, where if we can get another grant, we'll all have work for another 8 years, and then another 16 years. And so it pays them grant-wise, and then the deans like that, it pays them to not solve anything.
There you go.
To just study, and we're going to stack this data and just continue to study, and we're going to study the blind near death. And so there's no deep incentive for them to solve it. And what they need is an experiencer who could fully remember it, everything. And then they are looking for childhood experiences like I was. And I was a childhood experience with out of bodies. And I remembered more than they thought, more than they could imagine. But they saw that, damn, he's exactly right. So.
What do you think about life reviews? When people say they saw their whole life flash before their eyes during this, is this something that, because you hear some people that don't have that experience near death, they don't say they saw their, but they saw something else. They were shown something else. So do you think that's subjective? Is it only are only certain people experiencing this like life review phenomenon that they mention?
No, most will have the life review. It depends on the severity of the death. A coma person may be more likely to have it than a heart attack victim, because the heart attack victim, they may be able to bring him back quicker than a coma. I had a friend who had a coma. But with the life review, you can have a life review and be alive in real life. Like there's been plenty of people, I've had it, where you almost have a car crash. The car stopped before they actually touch. But you see your life go before you. There's mountain climbers who've fallen, somehow lived, and said their life flashed before. Car accident victims, cops, when the criminal pulls a gun and the bullet just misses the cop, they saw. So it can happen in real life, and then it will happen permanently or finally after death. And the person is so lucky that they had a near death because they see that there is an actual death where you don't exist. In the dark void, the time between death and reconsciousness after death, the person is in a coffin-like blackness with no sound, no hearing, no nothing. And supposedly, for those who have extreme hatred of God or who don't believe at all, there won't be a resurrection. They'll simply be put into blackness and will be in a coma-like state for the rest of existence. So, but when a person gets to that point of death, you see, hey, JS Code 77, thanks. When a person gets that close to death, and when they get older, they start to get more with God. And sometimes you might wonder if, like I've heard, there's no such, you can do a deathbed conversion, but after you die and you're having that life review, you cannot say, I believe in God now. It has to be before you die or as you're dying. You can, my brother was a deathbed conversion. So yeah.
And let me stop again to thank JSCO77 for the wonderful super chat. Do appreciate it. Mr. Braxton is recognized worldwide as possibly the foremost thinker and experiencer in his field. We love it, and that's exactly why we have him on tonight. I did have a question for you here, Eugene. with some of these near-death and out-of-body experience cases, and you may have touched on this a little bit earlier, way earlier, but are there instances where these people are running into beings or entities during these, and then with your understanding of the subject, what do you think those would be? Now, we talked shadow people on the last show, but are there, what do you think these things are when people are saying they're encountering entities or beings during these experiences?
You're saying that people say they see beings during the near deaths and
Yeah,
out of bodies?
or an entity, or just not necessarily even a physical thing, but an apparition, even maybe. What are these things that people are? What are these things that people are saying they're seeing?
But inhabitants of that dimensional realm, like in that realm where we have dreams and out of bodies and near deaths and UFOs. There could be a mixture of things. Some depends on what's going on in the psyche and in the mind of the person, according to what they may see. But the main thing is to have a non-reaction when you encounter them, like Mr. Spock. I always say that, but that's the perfect kind of emotional state you want to be in, because when there is no emotion, you see through the illusion. Sometimes the illusion just disappears, and you see the reality of what is happening all at once. So yeah,
Okay.
For that answer.
Yeah. And so if someone were to come to you and say they had an experience that they perceived to be an experience under the influence of like ayahuasca or DMT, so someone that has come to you, would you consider that experience the same as someone who just naturally happens upon a out-of-body experience, a near-death experience? Do you think these people are experiencing the same thing? Or are they going to the same place?
No, under the and I used to party, but under the drug or the smoke or the chemical thing or ayahuasca, whatever they want to call it, under that you're not seeing the exact reality of what you would have seen had you been fully sober. Although with the near-death experience, it goes over any ayahuasca or any plant or herb like that. So it goes beyond in the near-death. However, the careful experiencer has to wonder and probably know that it did influence their perception, understanding, their immersion into it. Because the straighter the better, especially in those things. Say you had an ayahuasca experience and then you accidentally walked into a truck and had a near death. The person wouldn't know how much of what they saw in the near death was related to the stuff in their veins. Although it can cover it, it will have some effect on it. A lot of people, there have been people who have had heroin, been on heroin, and the drug or the experience is just covers it anyway. It depends. But for the person who wants to seek a higher level and wants to do it in that kind of way, then it'd definitely be good to get one of those medicine men or someone like that, someone with some experience. You take the fish or whatever, because you don't want an artificial esoteric experience, because it's not the pure reality. Mm. That's why kids and children, they're super clean, and that's why they can have these vivid experiences. They're not dirtied up with cigarettes and Pepsi like the adults are and all that stuff, smoke.
Then I have a question too, and I guess we should be having our paranormal reporter in here later, so I might pose a question to him. I don't know if you have any insight on this. Excuse me, but I just would wonder how other, things like Native American tribes and in the tribes that do ayahuasca, however you pronounce it, if they if they view near-death experiences the same way that we do, or usually when it comes to Native Americans, there's usually a story behind pretty much everything that they describe. So I'm just wondering, maybe I can get that answer later, but I don't know if you have any insight on how the tribes look at near-death experiences and out-of-body
I know,
experiences.
yeah, I do know they respect them and know about them. And sometimes upon adulthood, say maybe 16 or 18, they'll send the Indian youth out for his own vision quest. Well, he'll go to the woods by himself, smoke this stuff, or take the herb and have his own near death. And sometimes they actually want to do the death thing and come back, because if you can survive death, that gives you great confidence in this world. So some of the tribes actually do go and seek out the near death and try to have it. And if the youth has to do it on his own, and then he comes back, especially with the near death, a changed person. Yes. So some of them try to purposely have the near death, and of course they accelerate. But they knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm.
All right. So
nowadays, 707 over 700 people a day are brought back by resuscitation through the hospitals. So that's good too. A lot of people are having them, and it's all of the good ones. They're, like I said, going up higher, while the negative ones are sinking. They have short lives, wild and short lives. But the ones who are on the higher path are having serene lives, that what they want, good things that they want, come to them. A different world opens up just by their thinking. And then when you add the breathings and the diet and all that stuff into it too, you start attracting things and people that you want and need in your life. This thing that we study is the highest kind of study. It's close to like a priest, like when we study esoteric sciences or spiritual science. That's darn near at the priest level. So, and we studied like the chat people and you and Dave, we study that every night. And so that's where this show could be considered grad level seminar or courses.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to say, because we're wrapping up, we're getting to the bottom of the hour here. Was there anything that you wanted to mention that we hadn't covered? Anything important that you thought, you know what, let me go ahead and say that, so I can make sure you get it all out here?
Yeah, well, two things. If you want to get a copy of my book, you can go to my website, Eugene Braxton at wix.com. I'll autograph it, send it to you, and it's full of info. And then, like, here's a quote from the book too. The book has some dynamite info and some dynamite quotes that no other near-death person has, not in this world. But here's, upon attainment of the highest spiritual heights, we find that love and the desire to love assures us at last of happiness under the sun. And that's a quote from the book. And there's more good quotes too. But yeah, I guess I'm glad you had me on, Rob. Mm-hmm.
Man, anytime. I love having conversations with you. They're always deep and to the point like this. And we'll obviously do this again. But I thought it was important with that first show that we finished the conversation we were having at the time. And then now we can move on. So I do appreciate your input on this, you being the expert in this on this topic. So yeah, we definitely want to make sure everybody go out there and pick up Mr. Eugene Braxton's book, and hopefully we get some more books to come. But yeah, I definitely want to have you back sometime later this year, check in with you and see what you're doing.
Okay, good. Yeah.
All right. And JSCO, as the cosign for it right here, says it's a great book. I'm halfway through it. So that is definitely. And then we got salute from President Zaddy. Salute, Eugene. Hop in the chat. And so I guess he wants to talk to you there. Christine saying, thank you, Rob and Eugene. Channel Horus, thanks. It is an amazing journey to unified physics. I'm still learning magic haku to bind DNA per vocal mental words. Yes, magic is real powerful. Light with love, Kira. Okay. Well, you make an impact on people every time you come in. A lot of people love to hear from you. I do too. And we will continue talking.
All right. Thanks, Rob, my man.
All right, Eugene, you have a good rest of your night. Have a great 2024. Hope to see you in Reno. I think you said you will be there. So we'll be seeing each other soon.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care. Thanks.
You
All
too, my
right,
man.
guys, we're going to go ahead and pause for the cause and get ready to jump into our second break of the night as we prepare for hour number 3, only here on Spaced Out Radio. So we'll be back. See you in a minute. All right. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. And we're going to go ahead and jump into some of our normal Sunday doings tonight. We will be joined momentarily by our paranormal reporter. And then who knows what we'll do at the bottom of the hour. But definitely want to talk to you about, once again, the Las Vegas or the Reno trip, the Spaced Out Radio fan party. We got to have you there. Whatever you can do to get there, we definitely want to see you there if you can get there. We're going to do a great show live right there in person for you. Jessica, Dave, myself will do an hour each, so a 3-hour block. As soon as that show is over, we will be turning up in the VIP party. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to get out there on the dance floor and do some crazy stuff? I don't know. I can't wait to see. Saturday, we will be doing the ghost hunt with Merle. Saturday night, we'll be doing the UFO Skywatch with Melinda Leslie. And then Sunday, once again, if you're able to stay, it's going to be a free-for-all hangout situation. Whatever you guys decide you want to do is what we're going to do. You come and see SOR fan favorites like Science Bob, Lala Bright, Tensinor, Jim Goodall, Melinda Leslie, Merle, Lorian Fenton, Dr. Michael P. Masters, and more. Come meet Dirty Filth, Jessica Jones. Come meet Kira I Am. Come meet me. I definitely want to meet you. We can get together, have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Let me know. We can set it all up. $60 tickets. $100 gets you the ticket, the VIP swag bags. Remember, rooms have been pretty cheap, considering as low as $139 per night, less than triple the price of Las Vegas. It's the perfect gift. Get it for a mother. Get it for your daughter. Get it for just a friend. Do it as a friendly gesture. And make sure that, you're able to show up here at the Spaced Out Radio Fan Party, Reno 2024, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Sign up today. Email your request for tickets to info@spacedoutradio.com. We cannot wait to meet you. And while we are actually waiting for our paranormal reporter to come in, we might as well run the commercial real quick, and then we'll jump right in with him. Here we go.
Guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have Spaced Out Radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com. Shop there today and make yourself look good. Love your woo. It's time to make a commitment to the 3rd annual SOR Fan Party. This time, we're heading to Reno, Nevada and the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Tickets are $60 or $100 for VIP. With that, you get a free radio show. You get to hang out with celebrity guests from Spaced Out Radio, including our team, who are coming to hang out with you. You get to meet the entire team, like Science Bob, Merle, Melinda Leslie, Geraldina Roscoe, and more. It's a weekend packed with adventure, and we want you there. After all, we're doing this for you. Find out more and get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com and book your hotels today at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno, Nevada. Come join us for the SOR Fan Party, May 10th through 12th, 2024.
All right. So definitely want to see you there. It's going to be an event to see, an event to be at. So definitely want to see you there. And what we're going to get ready to do here, we had our paranormal reporter hop in. We'll wait for him to get ready real quick, and then we'll bring him in. Looks like he is good to go. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, bringing in the paranormal report with our paranormal reporter, Mr. Travis Mustos. How are you, sir? Happy 2024 to you, sir.
Yes, many blessings to all out there, all the viewers, and to you, Rob. And maybe we fill those blessings with joy and light, and enjoy every moment and every second we got out there, and just allow our projects to flourish and do great. You know what I'm saying?
Loving it. Great message. So we talked, obviously, on New Year's Eve. We just had an impromptu setup thing going on. Definitely we're going to redo that because I know you wanted to get with Jim Goodall, and I'm going to make sure that happens, sir. That is definitely, I had no clue, but we're going to make that happen. So I don't know. One of these days I'll bring him back on. But other than that, I know we looked into some stuff. There's, the obvious weird thing that went on at the Miami Mall. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But we can get into that. But did you have anything set up for us tonight, or you just want to get into some general stuff?
We could just go for some general stuff and save it for another date for the what we're talking about there, maybe Jim Goodall and stuff like that. So we'll save it for then.
Okay. So then I guess let's start off with the whole Miami UFO situation. Were you familiar with that? Did you hear what happened, and what are your thoughts about that?
Oh yeah. Well, my first thought was like, okay, like that's very interesting. But as a psychic and very intuitive person, reaching out to the galaxy with this information and knowledge, I have had encounters with a lot of 8 foot tall different kind of beings out there. So when I heard the 8 foot tall aliens, it was no surprise to me. I was like, okay. But it's just funny that like the setting that it's in, like, that they were just trying to go shopping or something,
They just showed up at the mall. Yeah.
Yeah, but the line of cop cars is pretty, how should you say it? I guess it was like exciting to see all that. And I guess it looked cool. Just like the cop cars, all that. And like it was very odd that they would have that many for what they were saying. Like it was this teenagers fighting or brawl or whatever. It was that was quite a big force and all those guns were like M4s and different kind of like heavy rifles they were carrying. If you look at the footage of it, the cops and lines down at the bottom had a lot of rifles and different things out. But so they're just teenagers fighting in the mall.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right? And Mike Bothwell asked, what are Travis's thoughts on that video? And in my opinion as well. We had Brian Bowden on yesterday, okay? And he showed the video, and it showed this object or entity potentially walking across the middle of the screen in front of these steps. It's still something that's under investigation. I mean, the video itself wasn't compelling for me. But what was compelling enough to think about looking into it more was when he mentioned the fact that the power had been shut off to that part of the city, and that they were confiscating everyone's phones. So, and then the actual response, the police response. So I think he said it was close to 200 officers there, rather, like 100 cars roughly. That's a pretty big response when you think about it. And then you have to think about, okay, and we know those are the facts that they did show up in force. We don't know for sure they took phones, but I guess the power situation can be verified. But that's a lot of stuff for it to be, I think just a brawl. But I could be wrong. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Oh, it was just like the way it was handled and everything. Like it just seemed like they had like two different departments or detachments working together surrounding that front of the mall. And then, to see the video of what looked or appeared to be like some form of creature or some sort of something walking there, or, it still has to be, more clarified. But to me, it felt a little interesting that would be the I was saying, there's a lot of people who we're saying that a lot of these beings walk among us, and they were capable of doing these things, like especially if they come down from a higher frequency level, they can just pretty much manifest into a lot of different ways, or beings or people. And then if they just manifested out and we're there, and in the mall all of a sudden, it's pretty, it could happen. I'm not throwing it out like saying it can't happen, like it's
Right.
there's been a few like situations where things have been taken out of people, and literally the sun rays will burn the dark energy out of the existence.
And my thought on that is that, and I brought this up yesterday as well. I mean, they were in front of the image, or the apparition was right in front of the police cars. So I'm like, at least half of those cars had to have dash cam rolling.
Yeah.
I would think that would there be in a mall, there's going to be just mall footage, and then in addition to that, individual footage that people had taken themselves. So I would hope that if there was something to this, that more videos and things would come out that should show pretty much exactly what this was. I mean, they had the police spotlights on whatever this was. The cars, if they were rolling, I'm sure have this thing in HD. So if we don't get that, then I think that, but I think an important thing that I brought up yesterday was, when we have these sort of things, even though on the surface they seem so odd and ridiculous, that we still at least give it the vetting that it deserves. You know what I mean? I think every case should be vetted and then put out. If there's nothing to it, if there is something to it, then, because I think the problem we have in ufology right now is a lot of people just kind of rush to judgment and either proclaim it or deny it and then done, and spend no real time looking or trying to figure out what this is. So I think we should do that with this, even if it sounds ridiculous. I think we should do that.
Yes. I was just thinking too, the whole with the solar flares and the higher energy frequencies around the earth, and then CERN lighten up their machine once again there. I just feel like there's a lot of portals that have opened in different various ways, naturally and unnaturally, and that causes a lot of imbalance. And sometimes good beings and different kind of beings come through, and this also could be what it was, right? It could be a spiritual being coming through and appearing for moments, and then it could have been gone. Little things that I take into consideration, especially when it comes to dimensionals or other realities. And but yeah, if there was no ship or anything, right? If there was just some sort of entity or energy or zone that it just kind of crossed through into our timeline or reality, that's still the case for me too. It's still open. I get the idea of it.
Yeah, because you have to ask yourself, okay, contact happens one day on a global scale, or just the biggest event that we would ever have. And if you ask people how that moment happens, a lot of people have these preconceived ideas on it'll happen in front of the military, or it'll happen on the White House lawn, but no one really knows how that would come through. And could it come through at a mall just on a random day? I mean, I guess potentially it could, you know what I mean? So I kind of like looking at what is plausible in a situation using common sense. And then at the end of the day, yeah, we could throw it out, but at least we spent some time with it. 2023 made me feel that way, especially with the whole Las Vegas situation, then followed by Peru, then the Mexican mummies, the Peruvian mummies, and on the face of it, the Peruvian mummies, it was a no-brainer. It was like, okay, this guy has shown these things before, we've seen these things, and they were at some point proven to be not what they said they were. But then we get into it this time, the guy's like, well, go ahead, take a look at it. I want all the scientists to come out and take a look. That's at least what you should do. And I kind of agreed with that. I was like, yeah, why not get in there and look at this? Because you can immediately, through science, go ahead and debunk this is not what it is. And then we get to take that off of our plate while we deal with these other things that popped up. So 2023 really made me feel strongly about, even regardless how weird or out of the realm it seems, that we should still take some time to at least look at it, give it the chance that it deserves. So
And
the
yeah,
little, go ahead.
That were presented in the box.
Yeah,
I love those little
the
guys.
Mexico mummies. And on the face of it, it's like, okay, these are fake, pretty much. But it's throwing it out that quickly, I think, is the mistake. Because I guess, and I can't verify because I didn't get to go sample the tissue on any of these things, but Jaime Maussan has stated that they had scientists that did look at these things, and it came out that these things were not made up of anything that we know of, and that potentially it could be something from out there. So, and the whole thing is if you think about it, if those did turn, not saying that they are, let me preface again, but if those did turn out to be real things, but it was something that we immediately threw out, do you realize how much crucial evidence or things that we've seen that we throw out immediately without even thinking twice about it? And I think that's a problem in ufology, how easily we're able to do that.
Yeah, that's true. And one way I like to look at those the little guys in the box there was like, obviously the people, there was probably a better stonework on it before, and then like over time it started kind of deteriorating, getting cracks in it. So then they had to like remold around it with trying to still keep the original shape. You know what I mean? It just seemed like over time they kept trying to like patch around it and like keep it together throughout the 8,000 years or however long they had it for, right? But obviously these beings meant a lot to them. It's so much so that they actually mummified them and kept them for thousands of years, and they were very much respected. Like in that sense, like, not everybody just gets mummified and kept for thousands. Right. And they loved them. Obviously, it was a sign of respect when I see that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great outlook on it. Actually, that's a great outlook. And I did have something for you because I know earlier tonight we were talking about with Eugene Braxton, talking about near-death experience, out-of-body experience. And the question I had for him that I wanted to say for you was, what are, when it comes to the tribes and the elders, how do they look at out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences? Are those described as that, or are they seen as something totally different?
It's like sometimes it's seen as your spirit body, your spirit self, your
okay.
Like, yeah. So it's like and we'll say like when you have deja vus, or you're like, hey, I've seen this place before, but you've never been there. It's a sign that your spirit has traveled into the future and went checked the path, is everything's okay, and then came back to you and subconsciously, and then you have this recognition of this place because it was meant to be in that walk of your universal path.
Okay, so then in dream situations, whether it's dreams, astral travel, near-death experience, out-of-body experience, the idea is that it is your inner you, your conscience, essentially, that travels outwards and goes to these locations. Okay. And that's how I feel. I feel like that's the actual answer to this, when we talk about that it's something that you're actually leaving your, whatever this is, cocoon or whatever this is, and you're leaving and you're actually traveling to these other places. So that was interesting because I wanted to know what the natives thought about that, and that lines up exactly with what I think.
And it was like Vision Quest 2, same thing. It's like you're on that level of living in reality, and you're seeing these visions come through to from your spirit guides, and you're getting these like quests, like when you're out there, right? You're seeing into these visions and these worlds, right? Dream worlds and different kind of things, and so yeah, it is a spirit self that travels and goes amongst these other places and planets and learns the knowledge of the universe, and it's part of that connection, to the galactic core.
And so, in place of religion within the tribes, what is the comparison to religion? Like, what is there a particular god or a person, or is it the animal spirit, or what is it actually that is the answer for all of this within the Native American tribes?
Yeah, so it's like we're all forms of this universal creation, universal light that is the overall, right? And then it's like all of us like spirit beings and our like I should say like the spirits of the elementals and like spirits of like I should say like the environments like trees and rivers and all these different kind of like even the planets have spirits and the moons and it's like it's a lot of like I should say there's even like the spirit, like you said, the spirit of animals and the spirit of like other prehistoric beings and it's all kind of like it's all mixed, but we think of ourselves as we're I should say we're we're in connection with everything around and like we're all forms of that creation and like even we consider seeing each other like we're like okay we're looking at even in like a broad daylight we're seeing each other like and that's like seeing spirits, right? And so we got to treat it as respect and these things are considered as a natural way for us for thousands of years. We've always, like I said, always considered ourselves closer to the nature and plants. And like I said, a lot of these spirits have given parts of themselves to create us and create part of in our reality in this universe, right? So we have a lot of connection to a lot of these things. And there's a lot of teachings and origin stories that go into all the plants that gave parts of themselves and all the animals that play a big part in our culture and our society. It's a lot longer than I have to tell the tale. But yeah, it's like we consider ourselves like I should say just like beings of the universe, and that's like it's pretty much that relationship with the universe, and we consider all the other religions and stuff like that as long as they're walks of light, then they connect with the universe. You know, and that's how we always looked at it. Well, my uncle always taught me to look at it was as long as it's walks of light, then it's considered a good like a part of the connection to the universe, I should say.
Okay. And then to take it one step further, then because we talked about, there being like a realm between what we understand as the living realm versus an intermediary place that you may go while either before coming back here or before going on to that final destination. So what is the outlook on death, I guess, on that side of it? Where
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my uncle always taught me it's love that helps you see when you cross over to the next life. Without love, you get lost. So if you have no love and you're bitter throughout your life, you'll get lost in the astral world that surrounds us. You won't make it to the journey, and you need love to see out there. And for us, the path that I walk, because I'm on a spiritual journey path. For me, I have to do a few more ceremonies so I can bring a few items with me to help me navigate that journey across. So what ends up happening is I have to go through like kind of like a mini quest after I pass on, and I have to talk to a few elders and give some offerings so they can show me the right paths to walk. And then there's pretty much a beast waiting for me there, a dragon that I'd have to slay with some spiritual weapons. And once I pass that, then I can meet the grand elder who would pretty much like overlook my life with me and go over if I did anything wrong. If I did anything horrible wrong, then I just get my head smashed in by this club. But if I did everything right, then they open a star portal to the North Star, and it opens up, and I go home. And our medicine wheel is based a lot on the stars, and that's one of the things. The north direction is the North Star, Kiwitan Way Home Star, and the east is the rising of the sun, and the south is the Jupiter position of Jupiter. Because up here in the north, we always see Jupiter in the south, and then for our west position is Uranus, because it disappears. We call it disappearing star. So it appears in the early morning in the east, and then it disappears at night in the west.
Okay. And then so in a situation where you were on that journey that you just described, what is it looked at as if you came back from that journey? How is that perceived?
All right. So what ends up happening after you go through the gate and you become a universal being, then that's your choice. Like, you can actually come back as another human here on Earth, or you can go out into the universe and become something else. Some people like. There's one thing here I was just gonna say. It's like the whole journey in itself is you can even come back as like even like different things, like as animals or even like trees or different kind of stuff, like it's pretty interesting actually with that.
So that's good to know. But when I say come back, I mean so where you have not fully transitioned yet. So you're on that path to being judged by your elders, but then you're brought back as in like a near death, like you came back to life. How was that journey looked at? How was that journey described?
Okay, so either because that's happened before. There was this guy and his name was well, we called him Skitchy out here, buddy. There's a few people that laughed at that, but yeah. Anyway, he was an interesting dude, very powerful medicine man. And one time he was on his deathbed, and they pronounced him dead. He was dead for like 10 minutes, and then he woke up. He sat up. Oh, I'm not dead yet, and just got mad at everyone because everyone was crying. Quit crying over me. He said, but he said he when he got to the gates, he said he seen all his family there, but they had that not the gates of portal, but it was like where they're all waiting for him, and then they're like, no, they sent them back. So he said he just seen himself going back, and he said he wasn't ready to be there yet. He still had like mission to do, or still things to do, or like so like things like that. Sometimes people are sent back and they still have like a lot of I guess I should say things to share or things to accomplish before they're gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my uncle told me though, like, because when he passed, and he passed away like at a kind of considered a younger age, young age, like like normally we go about 80, 70, or you know what I mean, but he went out at 60 from disease, right? So he ended up telling me like it was kind of meant to be. Creator needed me out here for the spiritual war that's going on right now. And that's what happened with that. He told me he was called back out for all that out there. So there was that going on for some time. But it's very interesting. Like I still hear a lot of these people that have crossed over. Like my cousin DJ too. He passed away like 3 years ago, and I'll still get messages from him. I'll see like images of him showing me like he has his dogs again with him, and he has this cool hunting knife, and he had new clothes and shoes and things like that, showing me he's living good out there and doing great. And I'm like, okay, right on. That's good to hear, because he was suffering down here, he told me essentially. And I was the only one who believed him that he had a dark entity attachment. Nobody else believed him. But yeah, it's a wild one. And I got rid of it, but it did too much damage on his body, he told me. And he didn't survive from that, right? But yeah, it was like process kind of deal. It was hard to deal with.
Wow. Yeah. That's heavy. I mean, it's just so cool to see, the thought process there, because I think it literally lines up with the common sense thought process about this, and I kind of find that more and more as I talk to different people, that a lot of the things that are explained end up being common sense sort of, thought processes that line up with a lot of, especially from the ancient beliefs. And I keep hearing something in the back here. I think I have something open here. But let me real quick say thank you to Deb from SAC with the awesome super sticker, $5. We appreciate you, Deb. You support Space Out Radio. And then also Lavera Lucchini, thank you very much for your contribution to what we do here at Spaced Out Radio. I do appreciate you. So with that being said, I definitely wanted to make sure we covered that question I had that, I got a good answer from, Eugene, but I definitely wanted to hear the perspective from the elders' perspective. And it's interesting, and I'm glad that you're here to do that, man, because it always adds to whatever subject that we're actually discussing, and there's always a perspective that we should get, I think, every time, when it comes to trying to figure this thing out, man. So, yeah, did you have anything else for us here tonight?
It's been awesome. It's been excellent. I've been doing a lot of readings since January 1st. I probably did over 100 readings so far. So tarot card readings. I do.
Okay.
I live stream it. I'm actually the Assault Rifle Omen on Twitch.tv. You can find me on Twitch, and that's where I do readings. I did like a 5-6 hour stream last night. It's pretty cool.
Somebody said something about the Assault Rifle Omen.
Yeah, I mentioned Space Out Radio. I was like, you guys go follow it on here. It's on every
Dude, yeah. Okay, somebody said they came over from that. I was like, I didn't click. Okay, that's cool, dude.
Yeah, I'm the guy. I'm the Assault Rifle Omen. So
I'm going to have to check that out, man. You guys go support Travis over there at Assault Rifle Omen.
Yes. And like I said, I'm doing card readings, and I did well over 100 readings so far since 1st of January. It's been just excellent and amazing. I feel like it's all meant to be from the universe, and it's been an awesome time, dude.
Yeah, and that's how I feel, man. And that's why I always say this, man, like where we have led ourselves to, or where we have been led to, I'll say, it seems when I talk to different people, it seems like the same attitude applies. You know what I mean? So we had our chance meeting, and it was set of the stars were aligned that way. It was supposed to happen. Same thing going back further with Dave's. It is just a series of situations where the same thing is proven over and over again, that I'm being directed, I'm being led into situations with other like-minded people who have the same idea and outlook on wanting to contribute to what it is that we're going through. So it's always awesome, dude. And that's why I'm so glad that I got you on my team, man. I think what we have here at the After Hours now is really, really solid. And for 2024, we got some big stuff lined up. So got to hook you up with Jim Goodall. Jim Goodall, Mr. Goodall, if you're watching this, I got to get you and Travis hooked up. So we can do it on air or we can do it off air. Either way, it doesn't matter. But yeah. Did you have anything else for us? What I'm probably going to do, some of the guests were asking for it. The viewers were asking for some trivia. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do some trivia with these guys if you didn't have anything else.
This is great. I'm ready to say thank you all for tuning in here and checking out the Paranormal Report, and and just hearing us chat it out and having a great time. And I know time is a precious thing, and just thank you all for sharing these moments of the universe with us. Hi.
That is awesome. Couldn't have said it any better. Travis Mustos, the Paranormal Reporter, always coming through with the good stuff. We will see you again next week, Travis, and we'll continue on this lovely conversation.
Excellent times. Take care.
Have a good rest of your evening, and have a great week. See you next week.
Yeah.
Take care. All right, guys. So Travis Mustos, ladies and gentlemen, comes in with the awesome conversation every single time. Love to get his perspective, and it was just awesome that I saved that question for him in reference to the elders and the tribes and how they look in near-death experience. I think that definitely added a piece to this conversation that we've had tonight, and I think it's definitely really, really beneficial having these guys on the team, both Travis and Brian Bowden. And I'm loving what After Hours is becoming. It is definitely something that is looking like a really great thing. And let me go ahead and try to see if we can fit in some trivia. Yeah, cue the trivia music. That's right, because we got it coming here. Let me go ahead and get us all set up. Right. As you guys get ready, let me go ahead and try to probably just grab from some old ones so we can just get through it since it was sort of impromptu. Next time I'll set up some brand new ones here. But let's see. Let me see here. Wonder who's going to win tonight. Who has the fast fingers? Who has the fast fingers of the night? Let me see. Guys, give me a couple minutes to prepare here. All right. Okay, yeah, and I think these will be good ones because I think, some of the basics, right? You should know the answers to, technically. So, and if you don't, then maybe you should learn today. So I think that's how we'll approach this. We'll come with some questions that you should know, that everyone should know. And that way, by the end of this, you will at least have all the basics when it comes to this subject, this topic. So starting out, trivia question number 1. Let me get, I'm sorry. I got to get my YouTube chat set up. Can't just do this off of StreamYard. We have learned that sometimes they don't both line up. So let me get that situated here. It will be another moment. Uno momento, por favor. And let me get this all set up here. Okay. All right, make sure I'm not echoing here. Okay, here we go. So I can see the chat here. YouTube chat, in effect. YouTube chat, guys, right here. So make sure that everything's all lined up. All right, question number 1. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. What does UFO stand for? Question number 1. What does UFO stand for? UFO. What does UFO stand for? All right. And Para, I'm checking this on YouTube chat and StreamYard chat. And it looks like we got Deb from Sacramento with unidentified flying object. All right. Deb is first. Unidentified flying object. Okay. Question number 2. In what year did the infamous Roswell incident take place? What year? It should be easy peasy. Yep, seeing them pour in, and it looks like, according to YouTube chats, first one in with the correct answer is to Mothman 1947. That is the year the infamous Roswell incident occurred. 1947. All right, let's go. Next question, question number 3. And make sure if to have a chance to win that you drag the viewing bar all the way up to where it says live, or click where it says live to make sure that you are live with us. The red dot should be on, so that's live. All right. Which U.S. government program investigated UFO sightings from 1952 to 1969? What U.S. government program investigated UFO sightings from 1952 to 1969? All right. Looks like somebody's getting down to business. That would be Mothman coming in with that Project Blue Book. All right, Mothman is up. He has 2 so far. Project Blue Book is the answer. They said they weren't investigating UFOs. They lied. All right, next question. What term is commonly used to describe the alleged removal of people or animals by UFOs? What term is commonly used to describe the alleged removal of people or animals by UFOs? All right. Looking good. Deb from SAC looks like. With abduction, let me go ahead and mark you down up here. Deb from SAC, abduction. All right. Seems like this is just between Mothman and Deb from SAC so far. Come on, let's get in here, everybody. Common knowledge stuff. Who is often regarded as the first person to report a modern UFO sighting in 1947? Who is regarded as the first person to report a modern UFO sighting in 1947? Yes. To Mothman once again. Right behind him. Mothman came in with Kenneth Arnold. It is definitely Kenneth Arnold. To Mothman like that. Seems like the Mothman show tonight. Question number 6. What is the name of the famous U.S. military facility often associated with UFO conspiracy theories? What is the name of the famous UFO military facility often associated with UFO conspiracy theories? That would be Kira with Area 51. Not to be mistaken with Area 51, but it is Area 51. If you've ever been to the gate or even to the end of Groom Lake Road, you know how it makes your heart beat. It really does. Really makes your heart beat being anywhere near that facility. For whatever reason, it does. All right. Next question. Let's see here. In the 1997 Phoenix Lights incident, what type of formation did witnesses report seeing in the sky? In the 1997 Phoenix Lights incident, what type of formation did witnesses report seeing in the sky? All right. Looks like we got Christine in the building with V. It was definitely a V-shaped formation, and Christine got that one. Let me mark you down here. And my sighting was also a V-shaped as well. I'm telling you, it's biomimicry, guys. I'm telling you, there's something to that thought process. Biomimicry. Remember that word. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? Okay. Maybe you'll get this one, maybe not. Which organization advocates for scientific research into UFO phenomena? Which organization advocates for scientific research into UFO phenomena? Ah, okay, here we go. I do see the right answer. 509 Divine Pines with MUFON would be the correct answer. So that is awesome. 509 Divine Pines. MUFON is the correct answer. All right. Let's see. Okay, and there's a couple of correct answers, 2 or 3 correct answers to this question. Whichever one, if you get any of the 2 or 3 correct answers, you'll get this one. What do skeptics often attribute UFO sightings to besides extraterrestrial spacecraft? So, how do skeptics usually explain away UFO sightings? What do they? They say, "Nah, it wasn't a UFO. It was this or that." Okay. I'll give you to Mothman swamp gas. That would be one of the things there. And yeah, there's a long list of them, right? Definitely. I'll give you swamp gas. That'd be one of the things there. Atmospheric condition. Even though I don't think we've ever seen swamp gas, have we? Isn't that just something that they say? All right. So Mothman got that. Let's go ahead and get you off the screen here. And all right. So let's see. Okay, what is the term commonly used for unidentified objects picked up on radar but not visually observed? What is the term commonly used for unidentified objects picked up on radar but not visually observed? I'll give you a clue. Let's see you guys having some help, needing some help on that. It is 2 words, and one of the words is radar. So I'll read it again. What is the term commonly used for unidentified objects picked up on radar but not visually observed? Okay, I'll just, look at Paranormal coming from the cuts. It is a radar anomaly. It would be a radar anomaly. And Paranormal got that one right. Let me go ahead and mark you down for that. It would be a radar anomaly. You don't see it visually, but you pick it up on radar. They call that a radar anomaly. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. Okay, what do the initials? Okay, this is a worthless company, or institution. But what do the initials SETI stand for in the context of UFO research? What do the initials SETI or SETI stand for in the context of UFO research? Well, what does SETI stand for? No, Christine. Let's see. Ooh, no. Ooh. This is a hot time. Okay. Okay, definitely Christine is not sexy ET International, for sure. Deb from SAC, it's not search for extraterrestrial life. But to Mothman, it is search for extraterrestrial intelligence. SETI. SETI. So to Mothman got that one right. It's gonna mark you down, buddy. This is this is not really a trick question, really, but yeah, search for extraterrestrial life. And they haven't found it, but they're looking billions of miles away from where they should be looking. Isn't that funny? They're looking through the same sky, billions of light years away at something else that's way out there when these things are literally a few miles up. Crazy when you think about it. All right, let's see. Let's try to fit in a couple more. Who is known for his work as a ufologist and coining the term close encounter? Who is known for his work as a ufologist and coining the term close encounter? I know a few Heineks out there. Paul Hynek, right? I think Paul Hynek, who comes on the show. And okay, I got you, Mothman. J. Allen Hynek. It is J. Allen Hynek, not his son. So we have to differentiate. And Mothman gets that. Let me see. J. Allen Hynek, not to be confused with Heineken, which is what I'm going to go get after the show today. But let me go ahead and tally up everyone's answers here. And I think we know who won already. It's a pretty shut down night for our guy. And actually, I want to make sure that this is proper due here. So I'm going to do the counting. I'm going to do the counting here. We have Deb from Sacramento, who has 1, 2, 2. We have Mothman, who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have Kira, who has 1. We have Christine, who has 1. We have 509 Divine Pines with 1. We have Paranormal with 1. So our winner for tonight's trivia, impromptu trivia, actually weren't planning on this, is Mothman. Go ahead and give it up for Mothman. Let's go ahead and give it up. I thought I had you on here, but apparently I don't. Okay, there we go. Mothman. Congratulations for winning the SOR Spaced Out Radio Trivia for tonight. And next, I do want to go ahead and talk to our super chatters, who we definitely appreciate for showing their support tonight. And those super chatters are Lightwalker. Oh, let's start from the top here. We had Jenny Whitebear, thank you for your awesome contribution. We had Kira I Am, thank you. We had Lightwalkers, we do appreciate you. We had Lavera Lucchini, thank you so much. We had Mr. Mothman, the winner of tonight's trivia, appreciate you there. We had JSCO77. We had Deb from Sacramento. And then we had Lavera Lucchini again. So thank you so much for your support of Spaced Out Radio. What we're going to do is go ahead and talk to you about the Space Travelers Club. You're already space travelers. Go ahead and consider taking the next step and just join the club for as little as $5 per month. Make sure you go ahead and do that over at our Patreon. Outside of this, I definitely want to thank everyone that came here tonight for your support. To all our viewers across the global, thank you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best all the time. And what is that, you ask? WOTN. We own the night. Have a great rest of your night. See you guys next week. We do have Reverend Michael Carter next week, so it will be definitely turned up. Can't wait to get him on. And next weekend will be fantastic. Make sure you show up, hit the notification bell, and make sure you're here for Dave Scott Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific to midnight. I will see you guys later. Take care.